Right now, I'll be honest, when we first started talking about this whole Lauren the Mortician situation, I did not expect it to be going on for this long, but I guess it does have a lot of similarities to the Illuminati situation after all. Now, usually when I'm doing another part to a series, I give you guys a quick recap on the whole situation up to now in case you haven't already seen what's going on, but it's quite hard to do that because a lot has happened and I've made a lot of detailed videos that are pretty long going into all the information that we've seen so far, and it would just take too long to do a quick recap here, so I'm going to give a very brief recap to what's happened in the past, week or so that kind of ties into what we're talking about today. But if you do want the full backstory, I would recommend the other videos. But basically, Lauren the Mortician's attorney, and yes, I always put attorney in quotation marks when we're talking about this individual. It's not because I don't believe they're actually an attorney and they have the qualifications, I just don't think that they should. But Lauren's attorney has been trying to take down videos and accounts left, right and centre, sending cease and desist left, right and centre, sending wellness checks to people for absolutely no reason. Well, it looks like that's not going to stop anytime soon. In fact, Jeanette is taking it to the next level. Now, we do actually have an update to the Do We Know Them podcast situation where Jeanette was given 10 days to either take legal action. Now, in most cases, the person wouldn't take any legal action because that is absolutely insane for just using a TikTok and a video, but we are talking about Jeanette here, so this situation's a little bit different. But like I said, we will get to that. First of all, I actually wanted to talk about Paige Christie's new video talking about Jeanette Braun. It's a 40-minute video going into a lot of details about Jeanette. I'm not going to talk about every little detail in this video, so if you do want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description. But one key part of this video that I did want to talk about is Jeanette's response to YouTube not taking down videos. Now, according to Jeanette herself in her own TikTok, this year, her and her team have tried taking down 94 different videos, which is a stupid amount. Literally every few days she has sat there trying to take down people's social media videos for using 20-second clips of her TikToks. And on top of that, when she doesn't get her own way, she is absolutely fuming at YouTube or TikTok or whoever it is, and she leaves the most bizarre replies possible. So for example, Paige Christie uploaded a video where she used one of Jeanette's TikToks and added commentary, barely used any footage. Jeanette said, "I'm not having any of that, you have stole my art," and decided to try and take down the video. Now in this case specifically, YouTube decided to not listen to Jeanette, and I imagine it might have something to do with the fact that she is notorious for filing these false copyright claims, in my opinion. So I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if there was a flag next to Jeanette's name in the system whenever she files one of these copyright claims or takedowns, because obviously she does it a lot for no reason at all. But YouTube decided to respond to Jeanette and actually said, "We are concerned that your copyright notification may not be valid for the videos listed below. Please keep in mind in many countries, it is legal to use copyrighted works in specific ways without the owner's authorization, particularly for transformative purposes such as news report and parody, commentary or review." And it even had a little bit here talking about fair use, which is a great response from YouTube, right? They're doing something right here. Now again, most people in this situation would see this and think, okay, right, they've declined the takedown, I guess I didn't get my own way, and probably move on with their life. But of course we're talking about Jeanette here, who seems to spend all day, every day, just trying to take down people's TikToks and YouTube videos, so she was fuming. And here we actually have Jeanette's response to YouTube, bear in mind, she's talking to Google here. "Dear YouTube, please share how you have the authority to determine whether the use of my work is fair or not. Only judiciaries can determine if use is fair. Much like claiming self-defense in a murder case." Yes, that's right, Jeanette has just compared using 20 seconds of someone's TikTok in a much longer video to murder. She's genuinely gone insane. Where the person admits to murdering the person, but claims it was not unlawful. The same holds true for fair use. I mean, come on, can we actually take this woman seriously in any way, shape or form at this point? The infringer admits the infringement and claims the use was lawful. Here, by you claiming fair use for the infringer, you are acting as an agent for the infringer and have admitted to the infringement on their behalf. Honestly, Jeanette, please just give it a rest. It's not that deep. And look, I'm going to skip through parts of this stupidly long email about something that really isn't that serious, but she says stuff like, "If you want the protection from liability that the DMCA provides, you must remove the material." She's really trying to pressure YouTube into removing, a really short TikTok in a much longer video. Why does she think that this is so serious? And I mean, I'm assuming it's because she claims it's her art, right? She seems to really hold her TikToks to a very high standard, even though it is just her sat there waffling for a few seconds. But it also does beg the question, where are these YouTubers and TikTokers finding Jeanette? And when they look into Jeanette's work, what part of it is making them think, yes, that's who I want to work with? After knowing everything we know about Jeanette, I can only imagine the people who want to work with Jeanette are people who want to falsely remove videos. Oh, and of course, on top of that, removing accounts and also sending wellness checks to people. And you know what? If we're going to try and look at Lauren the Mortician's side specifically and try and give her the benefit of the doubt, she's got an attorney here telling her all these steps, that this is what we need to do, send a cease and desist, send a wellness check out. She probably did assume that Jeanette knew what she was talking about, right? And she was a rational human being. When in my opinion, that isn't the case, but Lauren probably trusted her opinion. So if we're trying to give her any, benefit of the doubt, That's probably what happened here. She's probably just assumed that her actions were the right thing to do because she sat at home thinking, well, I mean, an attorney has told me to do this. It's their profession. They definitely know what they're talking about. But if we look further down this email, Jeanette goes on to say stuff like, my entire work was copied and put into the video, not just a small portion. Well, yeah, even if the full TikTok was shown, which by the way is like a 20-second TikTok, it's a little video with commentary in between, it's cut up, and it's a small part in a much longer video. Like, that doesn't mean that your entire work was copied. It's not as if someone just re-uploaded your TikTok with nothing else added. It's also not as if it's like a really long video or like a short film or something. Like, we're talking about a 20-second clip here. Like, to not use the full clip would be a couple of seconds, which doesn't really get the point across. You know, you can only say so much and you can only commentate on so much in a scenario. I think it's just so clear this is so blown out of proportion. The way she words this type of stuff, being like, my entire work was copied and put into the video, really makes it seem as if she put like a heart and soul into some project and it was just like re-uploaded and someone monetized solely off her work, which just simply isn't the case. But she goes on to say stuff like, no transformation of my work was made, my original work was copied and displayed as I exactly published it, which is completely just disregarding the fact that Paige added her commentary to the clip. So to me, in my opinion, she's just straight up lying here. Maybe Paige wasn't talking over the top of the clip whilst it was playing because there'd be too many voices going on and she'd give a commentary after the clip. Is that what she's trying to say here? But in no way did Paige just re-upload Jeanette's video with nothing else added to it. That just simply didn't happen. And as you can imagine, the further along we get with this email, it gets even more insane. My market for my work is being harmed by the stealing of it here. The infringer is profiting from the work, and those profits should have been paid to me by my original work. At the least, receiving the views. Yeah, I'm sorry to break this to you, Jeanette, but no one was watching Paige's video just because they wanted to see a Jeanette Braun TikTok. There's a reason why barely anyone watches your specific TikToks, you know? I would assume that they're actually there for the commentary instead. I did not post my original work on YouTube, and none of YouTube's license agreements allow the infringer to use my work for any purpose. The fair use analysis fails at every factor. Please remove my stolen art from the reported video. Now, of course, Jeanette's demands aren't met by YouTube. They're probably sick of actually hearing from her at this point. Remember, she's apparently tried taking down 94 videos this year. I don't know how many of them were on YouTube specifically, but I can imagine it's probably a lot. But of course, Jeanette gets more angry by the day and she carries on emailing YouTube. Dear YouTube, when will you process my takedown and remove the stolen art from your platform? The back and forth and the delays are compounding the harm that is being done to the market for my art. Look, I get it. Calling it art is probably like a legal term for this scenario, but the fact she keeps calling it art is genuinely hilarious. Again, we're talking about TikTok videos here. Very low effort TikTok videos at that, where most of the time, she's not even on the screen. It's just a screen recording off her phone and she's just reading a few lines. Which I guess who am I to judge if something is art or not, right? There might be some people out there that think that is very artistic. Now again, YouTube carry on responding to Jeanette here, saying stuff like, we remain concerned that your copyright removal request isn't valid, so fair play to YouTube, right? Because we've criticized YouTube a lot with the whole copyright system. They're doing the right thing here, so fair play. But this doesn't stop Jeanette. Remember, all she does pretty much every single day, seemingly, is try and take down videos. And when that doesn't work, she will go down every possible avenue to try and get the content removed. And that's what's happened with the Do We Know Them podcast. She tried taking down a video multiple times. It got denied. She was then given 10 days to either take legal action or the video would be reinstated. And this is where she actually made a formal complaint to the Copyright Claims Board. To the best of my knowledge, the Copyright Claims Board is a way to take legal action against people for copyright infringement. And she has made a full-on formal complaint and went into a lot of detail. But again, it's Jeanette Braun we're talking about here. So it's a lot of waffle. Now, I'm not going to go through it all because it's really long. And this is actually a public record, hence why I actually have this. But listen to some of the stuff she goes on about here. So as we can see here, it says, describe the infringement. And she goes on to name the two people on the podcast, Lily Marston and Jesse Smiles. And then goes on to talk about the video where they used Jeanette's clip. Respondents copied a substantial portion of Braun IP Law, LLC's copyright registered work titled Becca Day False Accusations. This being a TikTok that Jeanette uploaded responded to Becca Day's TikTok, which again is art. The infringing work was viewed more than 132,000 times before it was removed from YouTube. Respondents were not given authorization, license, or permission to use any portion of claimant's work by claimant. Respondents have admitted, by claiming fair use under penalty of perjury in their counter notices submitted to YouTube, that 1. Claimant has valid copyright to its work. 2. Respondents copied claimant's work. 3. Respondents used at least a portion of the work in their video. And 3. Okay, right, she doesn't know how to count to 4, apparently. I mean, can't say I'm surprised. What I should say is, and 4, respondents did not have authorization to use the work. She then goes on to describe the Do We Know Them podcast, says that they talk about internet drama, and then goes on to say that they don't have permission to use people's copyrighted work in their videos. She has a big section on fair use, which I'm not going to go through every detail because it's very long, but it's a bit stupid to me. And again, right, I'm not a lawyer or an attorney or anything, so I don't really know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to legal situations and whatnot, but just using like common sense, reading this is baffling. Like, for example, she says here, there is no presumption of fair use. See Campbell vs. A Cuff Rose Music Inc. and references it and says, in quotes, like a book review quoting the copyrighted material criticised, parody may or may not be fair use, and petitioners suggesting that any parodic use is presumptively fair has no more justification in law or fact than the equally hopeful claim that any use for news reporting should be presumed fair. Which is basically saying, in a more confusing way, you have to look at every specific case as a separate case. You can't just assume it's all fair use, you have to look in the details of that specific case. But the Do We Know Them podcast uses clips with commentary in between and transforms the work. If you look at any definition of fair use, it describes what they do on their videos. And regardless of the legalities of this, because again, I'm not an attorney, can we all just remember here that we're talking about a fucking TikTok video that was used in a much longer video, in like an hour-long podcast? 20 seconds of your work was used in a podcast where they give commentary for the stuff you're talking about. Why are you taking it this seriously? You actually wrote a novel-length claim based on them using your TikTok. Do you not have anything better to do? Upon information and belief, the sound of the video can be found within a 10-minute or so window around the same time in all of the republications. Which kind of makes it seem as if 10 minutes of your work was just played with no interruptions, which isn't the case, right? There's a lot of commentary in between that. Your video was very, very short. So yeah, I guess the beginning of your video to the end of your video might have been in a 10-minute window in the podcast, but they didn't play your clip for 10 minutes. And if anything, you're proving their point even better here, because the fact they could use one of your really short TikToks in a 10-minute window means they must have spoke about it a lot and added a lot of commentary. She also goes on to mention the DMCA takedown request that she filed with YouTube that got the video taken down momentarily, but then fails to mention the fact that YouTube decided that that was the wrong thing to do and reinstated the video. Like, what this paragraph should actually say is that I filed a takedown request with YouTube and they agreed to take down the video momentarily, but then realized that that was an error and corrected the decision. And here we have a section called Description of Harm Suffered and Relief Sought. Claimant is seeking the maximum relief that the board believes is justified. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're expecting that to be, Janet. In my opinion, that'd probably be a, sorry this has happened to you, and leave it there. And honestly, even that would be too much, you know? It would just be a way of, like, being nice, I guess. She then goes on to mention one of the many examples of cases that have happened with copyright in the past in Elvis Presley Enters, and then starts talking about licensed television clips that were used, like, as if this is a fair comparison to a TikTok being played. And again, I can't stress this enough. How mental is this that she went through this effort for a fucking TikTok video? I know it sounds like I'm going on and on, but I genuinely can't believe this. She made a TikTok video that probably took like 10 seconds to make, and she's this fuming about it being used. And just when you thought Jeanette's behaviour couldn't get any more insane, she also contacted YouTube, separate to this copyright claim, and demanded that they pause all the revenue that could be received from the Do We Know Them podcast.
She was demanding that YouTube hold all of our wages, all of them, all funds that we make, not just the ones on the video that she claimed, all of them, because she intended to garnish our wages when and if she won the legal proceeding.
Which, I'm sorry, but this woman is genuinely evil, isn't she? She basically wants Jesse and Lily to go jobless because they used one of her TikToks in a much longer podcast. Bear in mind they have families, right? Jesse has a child, maybe children. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure if Lily has children or whatever, but they have families and whatnot. They also have their own lives, bills, everything that they need to pay for. And Jeanette wants to take that away from them because of a TikTok. Not just the money from the video that her content was used in, the whole channel. And even if she just did it for the video it was used in, would be absolutely insane, right? Because if we actually tried to work out the amount of revenue that was earned in the portion of Jeanette's video playing in that, it would be next to nothing. Because the clip's so small, it's in a podcast that's over an hour long, the actual revenue of the portion, like the 20 seconds or whatever it is, of her video playing, it would be so low. But she believes it would be enough to completely remove their revenue going forward.
She also told them that they needed to put a litigation hold on our entire account and stop us from publishing.
No further uploads.
No videos. No videos, not just about her, about anything.
What an evil, evil woman, man. I genuinely can't believe a person like this exists. One of the most delusional people I think we've ever covered on this channel, right? But also the strangest behaviour I've ever seen from someone that we've covered on this channel. She wants to take away people's abilities to earn money from their job because of a TikTok. I honestly have no idea why like TikToks and YouTubers work with her and what they've seen that makes them think that she's good at what she does. But it's becoming more and more clear how this whole Lauren the Mortician situation happened with like the wellness check and whatnot. It seems like it was probably just advice from Jeanette, because this is the type of stuff she does. She wants to ruin people's lives. Absolutely wild behavior. I would love to know your opinion on everything that we spoke about in today's video. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it there, but I mean, it seems like this probably isn't gonna be the last video on this situation. But if you did enjoy, please leave a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit, alright? Goodbye.